My brother demanded I give a speech at his wedding even though we barely speak. My older brother Jake and I have never been close. Growing up, he was the golden child who could do no wrong, while I was constantly getting lectures about why I couldn't be more like him. He got into Harvard. I barely graduated community college. He landed a six-figure job. I worked retail for years. So when he called me last year asking me to be his best man, I was genuinely shocked. We hadn't had a real conversation in probably 3 years. Look, I know we're not super close, he said, but you're my only brother. It would mean a lot to Sarah. Sarah was his fiancée of 2 years. Sweet girl. Worked as a kindergarten teacher. Came from a good family. Honestly, she was way too good for him, but I kept that opinion to myself. I accepted, thinking maybe this was his way of trying to rebuild our relationship. Just don't embarrass me, he added before hanging up. Classic Jake. The months leading up to the wedding were awkward. I showed up to the bachelor party, helped with wedding planning when asked, but Jake made it clear I was there out of obligation, not love. The wedding day arrived and everything was perfect. The venue was this gorgeous vineyard. Sarah looked stunning in her grandmother's vintage dress, and even Jake cleaned up nice in his custom tuxedo. The ceremony went off without a hitch. During the reception, Jake pulled me aside. Remember, keep your speech short and generic. Just say something about us being happy together and sit down. Don't try to be funny or sentimental. I nodded, but something was eating at me. 3 months earlier, I'd been at Murphy's bar downtown after a particularly bad day at work. That's when I saw Jake in a corner booth with a blonde woman I'd never seen before. They were all over each other, kissing, her hand on his thigh. When he spotted me, his face went white. He rushed over and grabbed my arm. "It's not what it looks like," he said, but we both knew it was exactly what it looked like. "Please don't tell Sarah," he begged. "It was a mistake. It'll never happen again. If she finds out, she'll leave me and I'll lose everything. The house, her family's connections, everything I've worked for." I was disgusted, but he was my brother. I kept my mouth shut, hoping he'd actually end it. But now, standing at his wedding reception watching Sarah beam at her new husband, I felt sick. She had no idea who she'd just married. When they called for speeches, my stomach churned. Jake shot me a warning look from the head table as I stood up with the microphone. I looked out at the crowd of 150 guests, all of Sarah's family and friends who thought Jake was this amazing guy. Then I looked at Sarah, radiant and trusting, hanging on her new husband's arm. "I've known Jake my whole life," I began, my voice steadier than I felt. "We've had our differences over the years, but today isn't about that." Jake relaxed slightly, probably thinking I was sticking to the script. "Today is about honesty and commitment. Sarah, you are one of the kindest, most genuine people I've ever met. You deserve someone who will love you completely and be faithful to you always." The room was quiet, sensing something shift in my tone, which is why I can't stand here and pretend everything is perfect when it's not. Jake's face went pale. Sarah looked confused. 3 months ago, I saw Jake at Murphy's bar with another woman. They weren't just talking. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Sarah's hand flew to her mouth. Jake shot up from his chair. "Sarah, you deserve to know who you married, and everyone here deserves to know what kind of man they're celebrating." I set the microphone down and walked toward the exit as chaos erupted behind me. Jake was shouting, Sarah was crying, and both families were in shock. My phone's been blowing up for days with angry messages from relatives calling me jealous and vindictive, but I don't regret it.